Okay, welcome everyone. I was just given a few minutes for others to join in. I can see the numbers of participants are slowly increasing, so give you a few minutes to um, join the webinar. So welcome to Concordia International's information session on the Concordia Student Exchange Program. And just a few things, I believe that all of you should have your microphone set to mute automatically, but just double check please in case you do not. This webinar will be a short presentation by myself and another one of my colleagues, Paulina Rouleau, my other colleagues, Amabel Zacon Gonzalez, Bertil Taillon, and Maral Abadjian are also joining us, but they'll be not participating in terms of speaking. There is a Q&A at the end of this session. So if you have any questions, I would invite you to add them to the Q&A, not to the chat, but to the Q&A, and we'll answer them at the end. We have got about 30 minutes of the presentation and then 15 minutes of the chat, followed by, I believe it's engineering, fine arts, and the John Molson School of Business individual information sessions for students in those faculties to cover the faculty procedures. So without further ado, we'll begin. So a little bit about Concordia International and who we are. We're the office that offers experiential learning, research, and funding opportunities to students at Concordia, all students to suit the needs at their time in their degree. We cover study abroad, which is the Concordia Student Exchange Program, things like the short-term summer programs abroad, faculty-led field schools. We also have research abroad. These are things like the MyTax programs and the Global Scholars Program, which is recently launched or will be launched this week. We also take care of mobility bursaries, particularly the Quebec Mobility Bursary and the Graduate Student Mobility Award, which are funding opportunities for you to go abroad. The Concordia International team is not just made up of study abroad, it's also made up of other people who work in other fields as well. Theo Blackburn is the director of Concordia International. Julio Sevilla is the manager of international projects. Myself, I'm Christine Archer. I didn't introduce myself. Christine Archer, I take care of exchanges for Asia, Americas, Oceania, and the United Kingdom. Paulina Rouleau, who will be speaking a little bit later, takes care of exchanges for Europe, Africa, and the Middle East. Bertil Taillon, who will be answering the Q&A, some of the Q&A, is the coordinator of mobility bursaries. And there's a misspelling there. She's not student mobility, it's mobility bursaries. Maral Abadjian is the coordinator of our field schools program and our other short-term summer programs. And Amabel Zacon Gonzalez is the coordinator of special projects. The study abroad team, so those of us who actually take care of what you're interested in right now, which is going on exchange in particular, is made up of myself, my colleague Paulina, and Bertil, who again takes care of the mobility programs, the mobility funding. Also involved in this process are faculty advisors, and your faculty advisors are the ones that you should contact for questions regarding non-academic questions. And sorry, the previous slide I had forgotten to mention that the study abroad team are the ones that you would contact for any questions pertaining to non-academic issues, partner information, or bursary information. So anything that is non-academic. And for your faculty, you would contact them for anything having to do with academic issues. So your credit transfers from abroad, course equivalencies, what courses are equivalent, course approvals, eligibility requirements in terms of whether you meet the eligibility requirements or not. Your faculty advisors are for Arts and Science, Shoshana Calfon. For Gina Cody School of Engineering and Computer Science, it's DP Chalal. For Fine Arts, it's Perla Muyal. For John Molson School of Business, it's Amanda Holt. And for graduate students, it's your graduate program director, whoever that person may be. So right now we're just going to take a poll. We want to know a little bit about who our audience is currently. My colleague Paulina will launch the poll. We really encourage you to please answer the questions. It'll help us sort of guide us through who we're dealing with today. I'll give you about a minute to do that. So the questions are, which faculty are you from? What is your level of study? So undergraduate or graduate? And where would you be interested in leaving on exchange? Whenever you feel it's a good time, Paulina, I'll let you.
Yes, I can
decide.
take. Yes, I'll give a few more minutes, a few more 20 seconds, let's say, and then I'll take it from there. I'll be happy to then share the results. We have 37 responses out of 56, so I encourage all of you to give your answers. So it will be nice to see who you are and what you think of the CSEP. So we're getting to the 76%. So I'm gonna now end the polling in 10 seconds and share the results with all of you. So end of polling, and we're gonna share the results here. So the majority of students here today with us are from John Molson School of Business, but I'm happy to see that we also have from all the different faculties. Definitely more undergraduate students than graduate students, which is normal because we do send more undergraduate students on exchange, even though the program is open also for graduate students. But those of you graduate students who are with us today know that you can attend, and there are also other programs that you might be interested in learning from us. And so the destination to Europe is usually the one that we send the most, but also it's nice to see the nice split of different destinations, that there's interest in all the different regions we offer. And currently, what are you scared mostly? It is normal, the cost of studying abroad. You have to be conscious. There are some expenses attached to exchange. And of course, the academic recognition of the semester, it's very important. All these reasons are valid for sure, and we're gonna discuss them throughout the session. What interests you the most? Living abroad and the immersive cultural experience, 90%. So definitely that is what exchange is about, living really an immersive cultural experience. So I'm happy to get all these results. Thanks for having participated. And we're gonna stop sharing the results now. And we're gonna move on. So we're gonna discuss today about the roadmap to studying abroad, because sometimes students are not necessarily aware that there are different phases or stages in the process. So we can divide them in 4 different big stages, which is the first is getting the information and then gathering, knowing more about the program. And then once you're ready, you're gonna apply here at Concordia University. We're gonna go through all these steps that are within these 4 big stages. Afterwards, once you're in the program, you will be applying to the host school, the school that you have been nominated to. And before leaving, there will be a pre-departure session where you will be actually finalizing your plans. So now it seems kind of rather maybe roadmap, very messy roadmap, but I hope after the session, it becomes all clear to you which steps are involved in the process. And before getting into the nitty-gritty, we wanna give you an exact definition. What is an exchange program? So I'm actually gonna read it out loud to make it very clear. And so exchange program is a bilateral formal partnership between Concordia and another university that allows the reciprocal exchange of students for the purpose of earning credits towards a degree while paying their tuition to their home university. So CSEP, Concordia Student Exchange Program, it allows you to go on exchange to one of our more than 180 partner schools that we have worldwide, and you can go for 1 semester or 2 semesters, either on the fall or winter. You will be earning credits towards your Concordia degree, while you'll be paying your Concordia tuition fees, so the same fees as if you were studying here. And this program is available to all faculties, programs, and levels of study. And why should you go abroad? I think you all have your good reasons. You are here today, so you're obviously interested, and there's no single good reason why should you go. And here are some of the statistics or information that have been gathered. And so 95% of the students who studied abroad reported that their experiences enhanced their cultural understanding. More than 75% of the students who studied abroad reported acquiring skill sets that influenced their career paths. And 80% of the students who studied abroad reported enhanced foreign language skills. That is a reason for some students to choose specifically a destination where they can enhance their skills that they already have and improve them. And more than 50% of the Canadian employers would hire actually a graduate with a study abroad experience over a graduate without this experience if all the other qualifications were equal. So now that you are in the process of finding more information, the first thing you want to do is to make sure, are you eligible to participate on this in the CSEP program? There are some requirements for all faculties. We're going to share the main criteria, and then we're going to invite you to learn from your own faculties the additional requirements that each of them may have. So the basic criteria are for undergraduate students, the GPA, cumulative GPA, has to be 2.7, and for graduate students, it's 3.0. For all the students, a full-time status is required, meaning that you are taking 12 credits per semester for undergraduate students and 9 credits for graduate students. And before leaving on exchange, it means that you must have completed 24 credits for undergrads, 9 credits for graduate students, but MPA students should have completed 24 before leaving. And some of you might be thinking of leaving on your last semester, so it's important to note that that will always, almost always, delay your graduation, so you have to be mindful about that fact. And then I would definitely encourage you to attend the faculty sessions after this one, or a separate one on another date, and learn about their requirements and processes. And my colleague Christine will discuss a little bit more about those, the importance of this fact. So where do you begin when you are thinking of going on exchange? Well, you're doing the right step today. You are attending an information session. Consider that being done once we are finished. The second thing you're going to start to do is you're going to use the tools that we're going to give you today, and you're going to do your research through the Concordia International website. It will offer you all the information and all the processes and steps that you need to know how to submit an online application and how to go about selecting your choices. So we're going to discuss those in a few slides. Of course, there's also support for you. You can meet with advisors if needed. So ILOs, meaning International Liaison Officers, Christine or myself, depending on the region you're interested, are available to answer any non-academic questions you may have. Or you can also contact the program advisors from your own faculties to learn more about the academic requirements and the type of courses you should be looking at. And once you are ready, you can begin submitting your online application. And one of the things that takes most time, I would say, it's the fun part, but also maybe the most time-consuming part of the application process is selecting your destinations. So where can I go? And how you go about this, you will go on our website and you're going to choose from our list of partners. So when you're leaving on exchange, it's important to know that exchange is available only for signed partnerships. So it's those schools that are available on our website under the step, where can I go? And when you're selecting your destinations, here are a few factors that you should take into consideration. The most important, I would say, is the course and program compatibility. And this is something that you will discuss in detail with your faculty to know which destinations are suitable for you based on the type of courses you need to take. Language of instruction is of course very important, because you have to be able to study in the language that the courses are being taught at the host school that you're going. And even though more and more of our partner schools teach in English, some of them don't. Sometimes you do have to have a sufficient language skills to study in Spanish or German or French, whichever language it may be that you wish to take those courses. Academic calendar and semester dates is, I would say, one of the factors that students mostly neglect to look into, especially those of you who are thinking of leaving in the winter semester. You might not consider the fact that the exams at the host school might be given in January or even February, which means that you cannot come back in time for our winter start at early January. So look at the academic calendar, see whether it affects your plans or if that is a suitable destination for you. Cost of living in the host country, it's also very important, because you have to be mindful about your own budget. There are resources to do your own research and see if this destination is suitable for you budget-wise. And you can use a website called Numbeo. It's hyperlinked here. And you can also use a budget form that we will share on our website, giving all the different items that you have to consider when leaving on exchange, and helping you to create a budget that you can estimate to be spending when you're leaving on exchange. Currently, it is our interactive map that you'll be using when you're searching your destinations. It is country driven, so you will select a country from the list that interests you, and you're gonna launch the search. And first comes out all the institutions, all the partners that Concordia has in that specific country. So this is not very useful for you, but it indicates the names of the schools, and then you can click on the detail here and go and find more information about the specific schools. And here where it becomes more useful for you. First, here we have chosen UAP, as we say shortly, in Barcelona. It's definitely, I would say, one of our most popular destinations. It's in Barcelona, and students simply just love going there. But it doesn't mean that it's necessarily a good fit for all the students, even though it is popular. So that's again something that here, when you're looking at the more information of the school, you can see that their GPA requirement is 3.0. So if at the application time your GPA is below the 3.0, it wouldn't be a good fit for you because you don't meet that basic criteria. Even though for the exchange program, the GPA is 2.7, some of our partner schools might have higher requirements, such as 3.0 or 3.3 even. In Japan, I believe some of the schools, or in UK, might ask for such a high GPA. And then the second thing that you really want to pay attention is the discipline. If it's general or all faculties, it means the school, the agreement with this partner has been done so that any student can go there. There are no restrictions for the faculties. But sometimes our agreements are done only for certain disciplines. So it can be JMSP only, or it can be fine arts only, or engineering only. So in that case, let's say you find there's a very popular school in Dublin, and it is actually only for JMSP students, but every year we have fine art students and engineering students who apply there because they offer also those subjects. But unfortunately, our current agreement only covers JMSP. So it's kind of like you would be wasting a choice if you list a school that is not available to you. So pay attention that it is open for you. Then you want to pay, as we mentioned, attention to the language. So here at UAP, they teach in English, Spanish, and Catalan. So you want to go and see, if you cannot study in Spanish or Catalan, you want to go and see what type of courses they actually do teach in English. Would they be suitable for me? So how you go about that, we provide a link to the course website, and you're going to see what courses are taught in English. Are they suitable for me? And then there are other information that you will find useful, such as the student exchange website, which talks about the services they offer for exchange students, the campus website. And I would say accommodation information is one of the things that students often ask. Where will I be living when I'm on exchange? And that's where this information becomes handy, because it will provide you information whether the school offers on-campus housing, whether you will have to be looking for off-campus housing, and that might affect your choice as well. And yes, you may see here, it's a student report tab. So when you click on that, you will have access to reports from students who have attended the university in the past. And it's a quite useful document because it covers many different sections or aspects of the exchange, from the living costs to the accommodation, to the type of courses they offer, the services they offer. Of course, it's somebody's personal experience, so you want to take it with a grain of salt, but it is useful for you to get feedback from previous students. And we do encourage you to choose 3 different destinations because, as we explained at the beginning, exchange is swapping students basically. So we cannot send all of you to your first choice. So if ever we cannot place you to your first choice, we'll try to put you to your second or third choice. So that's why choosing only one might be restrictive, because if we can't place you there, then there's no backup option. So we would definitely encourage you to consider 3 different destinations. And the deadlines that we have 2. There is February 1st, which is available for fall 21 exchanges, winter 22, or full year exchanges. There is a second deadline, which is June 1st, which is only for the winter 22 exchanges. This deadline is not available for fine arts undergraduate students. And actually, all of you who are attending today, I would definitely encourage you to consider the February 1st deadline, even if you're thinking of leaving on exchange in the 22 winter, because there are more destinations available for the February 1st deadline. Some of the schools that we use all the spots after the February 1st deadline will be removed from the website for the June 1st deadline because they are no longer available. The spaces, all the spaces have been used. And the application will open next week on November 4th, and you can find the link then at that date from our website. And I'm gonna now hand it back to Christine.
Thank you, Paulina. So the next question is, how do you exactly go about applying? The application is an online application. It's a very straightforward application with several sections to be completed, full of questions that you need to respond to. The first one is your personal details, which is pretty self-explanatory. Your passport information also is important in that section. Emergency contact information, your academic profile, basically asking what are you studying now, what faculty do you belong to, what year are you in, what do you, and whether or not you have extracurricular activities, do you work part-time, full-time, that kind of stuff. Then the destinations are when you're going to select which institutions you'd like to be considered for exchange. So like Paulina said, we always recommend that you choose more than one because you're not guaranteed to get your first choice, or if it's an only choice, your only choice. So do select more than one. It can be 2 and it could be 3. The maximum is 3. And then there's also bursary information as well that's included in the application. It's part of the regular application. The bursary information, I'm going to cover that a little bit because it's what most people I think are interested in. The application for the Quebec Mobility Bursary is included as part of your CSEP application. It's not a separate application, which it used to be in the past. So you will need to include the following information in this section. So your permanent code, which you can easily find on your student record, your residency status, or are you a Quebec resident, or are you a Canadian out-of-province student, or are you an international student, and also a voided check or a bank deposit slip, which you have to at that point upload to the application so that we have your banking information. So when it comes time to actually pay out your bursary, we have your information, and it has to be a Canadian bank. About the Quebec Mobility Bursary, it is $3,000 per term for up to 2 terms. So if you're going for 2 terms or a full year, it's $6,000. It is a non-competitive bursary. So if you have permission to go on exchange and you've completed the 21 credits towards your degree, then you will get your bursary, and it is available to all students. You have to excuse me. Hold on, my dogs are going to bark.
I can take
Sorry.
over.
Sorry, they were going to bark for sure. Available to all students, whether you're a graduate, an undergraduate, or a whether you're a
international
out-of-province student, international student, or a Quebec resident. Now, as Paulina was mentioning before, there is a faculty requirements that you do have to follow as part of your exchange application. So it is done through the faculty, but you have to do it in order to be able to get permission to go on exchange. Paulina, take over?
Yes, I'll take over, yes. So in order for you, Christine, you're not on mute. Well, oh well. So basically, as Christine was explaining, because what happens sometimes, students, they have applied fully online, completed the faculty steps. So in that situation, Concordia International, we are not able to assess your application. So it's important that you are aware that there is the online application for Concordia International, and there may be or are some other steps for your faculty. So that's why we definitely encourage all of you to attend after this session, those faculty sessions, or on a different date, like for arts and science. There are different sessions throughout the semester. So that's it.
Thanks, Paulina. The next important question is, how is your application assessed? Which is a question that we get often, especially if students do not get their first choice. They want to know why, how was it assessed? And it's a fair question. So Concordia International is the one that assesses your CSEP application after you have received permission from your faculty to participate. 50% of the assessment is based on your cumulative GPA. 30% is based on the academic compatibility of the program or the institution that you've chosen with your program. So if you are a JMSB student and you've chosen an institution that has maybe 3 courses that you could possibly take, but you really, really want to go there, it's not likely to be a suitable choice for you. And so we're going to take that into consideration when we do place you. 10% is the motivation of your choice. So why are you choosing? And that's one of the questions that we ask you for each one of your choices. What is your primary reason for choosing this destination? And 10% is your extracurricular curricular activities. So are you part of any of the Concordia student union groups? Or are you a member of the Stinger sports team? Or are you part of the Canadian Armed Forces or any other extracurricular activity that you may participate in? Once we've assessed your application and we know your faculty has approved your permission to go abroad, we will inform you of your placement. And that means that we send you a nomination email indicating to you in which institution we have placed you. One out of the choices that you've made on your application. It's a nomination letter, and we also send you something called a student agreement form. In order to accept your placement, you have to complete the student exchange agreement form, basically saying, yes, I accept, or no, I don't want to be considered for this destination. It is actually a formal acceptance. It's a formal acceptance of your or refusal of your placement, and it is to be submitted to us at the date that we will provide to you on that form. You're not obliged to accept your placement, but please note that you will not be considered for another destination if you have been placed in one of your choices. So often students may say, well, I got my second choice, but I don't really want to go there. Can I be considered for somewhere else? And the answer is no, because we asked you to really put some thought into putting down your three choices or your two choices. So if we do place you in one of your two choices or your three choices, then we do ask that we will not consider you for an alternative choice at that point in time.
Only if there is an academic issue, right?
Yeah. At step 7 then is to apply to the host. So once we've nominated you, once you said, yes, I'm happy to go to this institution, then it's time for you at some point in time to apply for the host institution. You cannot do so, however, until you've been prompted to do so either by Paulina or myself, depending on where you're going, or by the institution to which we've nominated you. So, you might get a nomination letter from us, let's say sometime in March, after the application deadline, saying that we've nominated you to go to University of Leeds, for example, and you say to yourself, oh, great, now I'm going to go on the Leeds website and start applying. You cannot do that. You have to wait for us to prompt you or for Leeds to prompt you. Otherwise, it doesn't count for anything. Generally speaking, the application deadlines for host institutions for students who are leaving in the fall can fall anywhere from early March until sometime in June, depending where you're going. And for students who will be leaving in the winter, their application deadline for their host institutions can fall anywhere from August to November. So quite late and quite some time after the February 1st deadline. Don't worry, we're aware that you're going. There is a time to do everything, and we will prompt you when that time comes. Commonly requested documents that are often asked by institutions, but not all of them. So not all institutions will ask you for these, and they won't ask you necessarily for all of these documents, but some of the more commonly requested ones are proof of English proficiency, your official transcript, a letter of recommendation from a professor, proof of your funding, and letter of motivation as to why you wish to go to their institution. It's also the time at this point to reconfirm the courses that you would like to take at the host institution. Now, once you've submitted your host application, your host university will issue an official acceptance letter somewhere between 1 or 2 months following their application deadline. And once you have received your letter of admission or your admission notice, because it can be in an email form, you have to confirm receipt of that letter with your international liaison officer, so either Paulina or myself, just to make sure that we do have a copy of it, because we don't always get copies of your letters. Once you have done most of this, and sometimes while you're still waiting for your letter of admission from your host, you have to attend what we call a pre-departure session. It's an orientation session or a group event where to prepare students who are leaving for exchange, sharing valuable information that we haven't discussed up until that point in time. And these topics may include things such as your course registration while you're abroad, tuition charges and payments while you're abroad, culture shock, health and travel insurance, medical and money matters, plane tickets and visas. All of the things throughout your exchange, your preparation for exchange that you might be thinking of or have questions about will be covered during this pre-departure session. And it usually takes place in the semester before you leave.
Great. So this is where I'm going to take over. Thank you, Christine. So as you have noticed, there are different phases in the exchange application process. And within each phase, there are also steps. So it is a process. And we have tried to make this visual for you to explain each of the steps within these phases and the roles of people participating in them. So just as an example, how to read this visual, for example, as a student, you will be applying. You will be submitting an online application to Concordia International, but you will be also working with your faculty and getting your courses approved and getting a permission from them. So this is where you would be and your faculty. So you will be able to read this visual and see what kind of steps are taking part when you are applying on exchange and really understanding it's kind of like building blocks and who is involved in it. So we hope this will help you throughout the process to just keep track of all the steps that will be taking place. And many of you might be wondering what is happening with the CSEP during this COVID-19 pandemic. And for us, it's still very early to know. I don't think even a crystal ball could say what's going to happen in the academic year 21-22, unfortunately. So for us, we are launching the program as planned next week, but we have created a website with all kinds of updates for the COVID-19. We are definitely monitoring the status of this pandemic. And we have also created a travel preparation plan and a section for frequently asked questions that we encourage you to go and look for. And you will find hopefully all the answers that you may have. And if you do have other concerns, you can always contact us. And during the application process, that while you are applying, you're not alone. There are resources available to help you. And you can either contact us ILOs, Christine and myself, through email, or you can contact us for a meeting through our virtual office hours. Also, student reports, as we mentioned, are great resources. And there's also a student association called Concordia Student Exchange Association, which is a group formed of students who have gone on exchange in the past and who are now helping outgoing students and incoming students throughout their journey. So it's a great group of students who are there really to share their experience and answer questions from students like you. And as mentioned, your faculty advisors are there to answer any non-academic questions. So we definitely encourage you to reach out to them when you have questions about course equivalencies, credit transfers, eligibility requirements, and such. And we have actually come to the Q&A section. So I would invite Pertti to read out some of the questions that are pertinent and share the responses with our students who are participating. And once we are done with the session, as a JMSB undergraduate student or Fine Arts undergraduate student or China Code student, I would invite you to join the second session given by your faculty. But as a Fine Arts, just pay attention that it's not starting immediately after, it's at 3:15, as in the JMSB and China Code will start once we are finished with the questions. So thank you for your attention, and Pertti, I'll hand it over to you.
Yes, hello everyone. So I have a few questions that are already answered. So I only kept the one that I think we didn't cover as part of this session. So the first one will be from Laurence Mado. What is the difference between field schools and the exchange program?
So what
I can answer that, Paulina.
Okay, perfect.
So the exchange program is really, you are taking a full course load at a partner institution, paying your credits to Concordia, and then once you get your credits, once you return from your exchange, your credits get transferred back to your Concordia degree, but the grades are not indicated on your transcript because it's not a Concordia course. You're just getting the credits for it as long as you've passed. So you pay your tuition, you're physically elsewhere, but it's as if you're studying at Concordia, and when you return, you get the credits, but your grades are not calculated in your GPA, or neither are your grades showing up on your Concordia transcript. A field school is a Concordia course that's taught by a Concordia faculty member, usually during the summer period, but it doesn't have to be, for a very short period of time. It can be anywhere from 1 week to a month, and for our language courses, 6 weeks is the maximum. These are Concordia courses. You're getting Concordia grades, and they will appear on your Concordia transcript as a Concordia course. So that's the difference between, and you go as a group. So it's just a group of Concordia students that are generally going elsewhere to take this particular course designed by this Concordia professor. I hope that answers your question.
Thank you, Christine. So the next two questions are from Kimberly Dumas and also, let me try to find the other one, Lithun Sarker. They're both related to COVID-19 situation. So the first one is about, should we expect the destination list to change in the next few months because of the COVID situation? Is there a way we can know if the semester will be online before accepting the semester abroad? And the other one is it possible to have a virtual exchange during COVID?
So I can answer that. For now, all the destinations that are available, we are hoping that they will happen, and all our partner schools have confirmed that they are planning ahead as us to maintain the exchanges in 21-22. There may be changes. I hope not that this pandemic wouldn't last until next fall, but it's too early to say. But I would say that, like, knowing for fall, usually the response is whether the semester will be online or virtual. We'll only know around 2 months before the departure. And so far, I'm very happy to say that for students who are interested in the virtual option, it is accepted by your faculties. They recognize also the benefits of attending a virtual exchange. And so if the host school offers that option for you and you wish to attend it, that will be recognized in the forms of transfer credits for you. So I hope this answers the questions.
Yes, the other one was about, is it possible to do an online?
Isn't that the virtual?
Yes.
Yes, so it should be possible.
Okay, thank you. We have 3 more questions. I'm trying to make sure we're...
Yeah, we have a few more minutes.
Few more minutes, okay.
Yeah.
So what happens if the courses we selected are no longer available?
Well, when you say no longer available, we always say that when a student is selecting their courses at the time that they're filling out their Concordia International application and also submitting courses to their faculty for approval, the courses that you will be taking in the semester that you will actually be on exchange are generally not available at that time. So you're going to be basing your selection on the courses that are offered in the current academic year. So let's say I'm applying now to go next winter. I would probably be looking only at the courses that are available in winter 2021 and basing my selection for winter 2022 on that. When it comes time to fill out the host application, at that point, the courses for the semester that you're actually going to be leaving for are probably going to be available. So that's what we mean when we say you have to re-verify your courses. And if they have changed or are not available, you're going to have to select some new courses and have them approved by your faculty. Again, approval of courses is actually sometimes done multiple times, because then when you get to the host institution, sometimes a course may be closed or it may not be available last minute and you have to replace it. So you have to get more courses approved. So that's why we say when you're choosing a destination, you have to pick destinations that have the most courses that you can possibly take available to you, so that if you do have to do things like switch out courses, you have a selection to choose from. I hope that answered the question.
Thank you, Christine. So we have few academic questions. So I read them out loud, but just so the students know, these are questions they would ask to their faculty advisor. So the first one is from Gabrielle. To check course equivalency, would I ask my department advisor to check the equivalency after I look at the courses offered by the schools I'm interested in? And the other one is, the other one is from Sophia. If I did most of my courses so far, no, sorry. So Sophia question is more about eligibility. So I'm gonna read that one for you, Christina Paulina. If I did most of my courses so far as part-time, but I intend on being full-time next year, does that make me eligible?
Again, that's a faculty question.
That's a faculty question, definitely.
Yeah, that's anything having to do with your eligibility, course approvals, course equivalencies, credit transfers, how many credits do I have to take when I'm abroad? Those are all questions that need to be directed to your faculty, because those are academic issues and we're not an academic unit and cannot make those decisions. So To answer your question, however, A, it depends on what faculty you're in, and B, generally you have to be a full-time student in order to be eligible for exchange. But again, do verify that with your faculty.
Again, we have another question from Leon Paris, which is for co-op students. And it's also something that you'll need to check with your co-op advisor. So do we have to ensure that our sequence is approved by the co-op office and CSEP for eligibility?
So yes, we always say that it's very good as a co-op. We do send quite a few co-op students, and it's great to see that it's a big crowd of very active students who want to do multiple experiential learning experiences, such as exchange and co-op. But it's very important then to really closely discuss both with your co-op advisor and our office to see with co-op the sequence to make sure that the exchange semester will replace your study term and that it fits with your work placement dates also, so that you are back in time for your next session. So I would say as a co-op student, yes, definitely discuss with your advisor and also consult us maybe which destinations tend to have worked well for co-op students, because the semester dates are short and have been good fits for co-op students.
Thank you, Paulina. So I got one last question. It's from Charles Roy. Let's say that we learned 2 months before our exchange that the host school is doing virtual classes. Will we be obliged to continue with the exchange, or can we cancel and attend Concordia classes instead?
So,
yes. Go
yeah,
ahead,
sorry, sorry. Yeah, so that's how it's been working up until this point. Lots of institutions plan on having exchanges, and I'm talking about this year. Next year, hopefully, it'll be completely different. We won't have this issue. But if we do, most institutions give us ample warning that, okay, we are canceling on-campus exchange, but we're going virtual. And it's entirely up to the student whether or not they want to participate in a virtual or take their courses remotely. Or if they want to take their courses at Concordia. So that's entirely up to you. However, we do always stress that students who are going on exchange, let's say you're going on exchange next fall, still register for courses at Concordia for the fall in case, in the event that something like this happens. So that if you do withdraw from the exchange, or you have to withdraw from the exchange for whatever reason, whether it's COVID or something else, you still have a basket of courses available to you that you've already registered for, okay? Mm-hmm. And that's something that we discuss with students at the pre-departure, exactly how you go about doing all of that.
Thank you, Christine. So one last comment. We just have students who wants to confirm the time of the next meeting with their faculties. So if you don't mind, Paulina, sharing that again with us.
Yes, so for now, as we finish it for JMSB undergraduate students and GINA Code students, please take a copy their Zoom code from here and join immediately now after this session. The faculty session will be offered immediately after hours. And for fine art students, the session will start at 3:15. And for arts and science students, the next session dates will be found on the Arts and Science website. So you can find it when you go on our website and you click on the Arts and Science, and you can find all the different, they have several still throughout this semester, and you can just register for one that fits your dates and your availability. And then for graduate students, we are available to answer any questions by email or virtual office hours. So I hope this answers. I will be joining JMSB undergraduate students, and then Pertti will be joining the GINA Code students. So we're gonna end this session now, and thank you for your attention, and hope to have your applications on February 1st or June 1st, and also hear from you if you have any further questions. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.